athletes, I wanted to put this video together because I wanted to share one of the biggest transitions I made in my lifetime, and that was essentially being a Division I student athlete playing women's basketball and now becoming a normal, average corporate worker that also enjoyed working out. I don't know about you, but for myself, there were so many different questions and challenges and adjustments I had to make, like what was going to be my new identity, or how much can I eat, what can I look forward to before, after work. There were just so many different things that I didn't even know where to start, but here I want to share 6 of the adjustments I made throughout the past few years and how they may help you as you're searching for your identity, for your new routine, your new schedule, as a person who still loves being athletic but may not be a student athlete or may not be a pro player anymore. One of the biggest adjustments for me was not having structured or scheduled workouts. It was really interesting to wake up and not have an early morning workout, a lifting session, a game to go to, a competition. It took some adjustment. I won't lie, after the first week, actually it was really nice not to have to wake up early and all of that, but I soon realized how connected fitness and exercise and competition really were in my everyday life. So to adjust, I put together my own weekly schedule. And for me, that just meant changing that schedule depending on what I had going on each week. So my schedule, when I was finishing up classes as a senior, I could be very flexible with my workouts. When I started working professionally, I had to make it a habit to schedule those workouts before work or after work, sometimes during lunch, depending on my schedule, but there's really a way that you can stay motivated, stay energized, stay competitive. It's just a matter of creating your own schedule and sticking to it. A huge adjustment for me was my food intake and my metabolism. Now, if you're an athlete watching this and you stopped playing professionally or collegiately, I know you know what I'm talking about. This was a huge adjustment for me because when I was an athlete, I ate many of the same types of foods, proteins, select carbs, vegetables, so that I could perform at a healthy and comfortable level. But for me, it was always about maintaining my weight. I really never had an issue about gaining weight. It was really just making sure I ate enough to keep weight on. Now, when I stopped playing, that was not a problem at all. I didn't have to worry about keeping my weight on, but it was really about my portions and making sure I didn't eat too much, didn't snack too much. That journey, I've ebbed and flowed throughout the years, but really the biggest adjustment I made was just being mindful of portion sizes. I don't really count calories because I just don't care to, and it's just not my thing, but I have been mindful of, on the days that I work out heavily, or I'm, get a HIIT workout in, or I'm running, or whatever it may be, that I'm eating enough and eating enough good, clean foods. And on the days that I'm not working out, that I'm being a little more mindful of my portions, just so that I can stick to a healthy balance. One of the other adjustments I've made is I've always tried to limit my sugar intake, my soda intake, my processed food intake. I won't say that I don't eat any of those things because I love sweets and I love a good soda every now and again, but especially because I'm the main person who also goes out and buys groceries for our house, I want to make sure that I'm just being very intentional on what I'm buying so that we're eating as clean, as healthy as possible during the week and sticking to our diets. Paying for gear and travel was one of the biggest adjustments I had to make when I graduated from school. I was super fortunate because our budget for women's basketball was very generous. We had multiple pairs of outfits and sneakers in the preseason, the same for the season, and then the same again for postseason. So when I graduated and I didn't have new outfits coming in every season, I just had to adjust. I made sure to shop for sales, especially off-season sales at my favorite brands, and made it work that way because I just didn't want to pay full price for something that I hadn't paid for at all in the years prior. Another way that I adjusted was to sign up for memberships and select credit cards to help me get rewarded for travel. So anytime I had a flight, a train, rental car, whatever it was, I would use either my travel credit card or I would sign up for an airline or a rewards program so that I could save a little bit of money and still travel when I One of the weirder adjustments that I had to make was trying to get out of a habit of these anxiety wake-ups. I don't even know what you call them, but it was the weirdest thing. I would wake up after graduation, like around 4, 5 o'clock most nights, and thinking that I'm missing a workout. Like 4 in the morning, I just wake up in a sweat thinking I missed a whole preseason workout. And I had to remind myself I graduated, I made all of my preseason workouts on time. And fortunately, I didn't have to make too much of an adjustment because I was able to kind of grow out of that habit. But if you're an athlete and you have it, it's something I had, you can and will grow out of it. It just took some time. It actually took me close to like a year and a half to realize when I woke up in those moments, I was not in school anymore. I did not miss any workout, and that it was okay to go back to sleep. So that was just one of the weirder things that I did adjust to. Time helped make that better. So if you're experiencing that, you will get through it. Playing pickup was another adjustment I had to make. As a worker, whether it's a corporate worker, whether it's a teacher, whether it's any professional, it's kind of hard to continue to be on your A game at work while having to deal with an injury that didn't even have to happen in the first place when you're playing pickup. One of the biggest adjustments I made is if I see someone who is just reckless. You've seen those athletes, they're just going a million miles per hour. Their athleticism or lack thereof injures other people. That's when I pump the brakes. I'll either just sit out a game or I'll find another game to play because it's not worth it. I want to make sure I can preserve my health. I already had one knee surgery. I don't want another one. So the only adjustment I made here is where I still will try to find time to play pickup. I'll just be more selective in the runs that I get. My final adjustment, I feel like this is something that resonates with a lot of athletes, is kind of finding and identifying with my new crew. Who is my new group gonna be? In college, it was the ladies that I was working out with, I was in the trenches with, I'd get yelled at by coaches with them. That was my crew. So I understood that world. That was my environment for 20 plus years of my life. Now I had a work crew, and they all came with different types of quirks and personalities. There were some colleagues that weren't really disciplined health or wellness wise, but they were like walking sports dictionaries. They knew stats, they knew games, they knew ticket sales numbers. There were some colleagues that I had that would burn themselves out day in and day out. I'd never seen anything like it. They were just in early and they leave late every day. It was almost unhealthy. And then there were some who were just like me. They hadn't had much working experience, but they were just trying to figure out a new routine and what looked good and how to incorporate this new corporate working environment into their day-to-day. So how I adjusted, I kind of incorporated a little bit of the parts that I wanted to into my routine. So for example, for the folks that were very stat-centric, I kind of incorporated different pieces of material that I felt would help me, especially working in sales for the MBA. I incorporate that into my job. For those who were burnout folks who would be in early and stay late, I would not replicate that, but there were days that I would come in early and would stay late and just try to build up my mental toughness versus just my athletic stamina that I was used to. I incorporated that part to just make sure I could kind of build my working persona a little bit better. And then finally, for those like myself who were just trying to figure it out, I would ask around. I'd see what techniques worked for them, how they were able to become better salesmen or women or better marketers. And by incorporating each of those 3 adjustments, I was able to propel myself forward professionally and garner more opportunities for myself. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to my channel.